Welcome to the Wanderers History Podcast and to a new episode. This will serve as a brief introduction to the next few episodes, which will look at some of the most important Doges in 16th century Venetian history and what role they played in the overall conflict in the Mediterranean between 1500 and 1581, while also talking about their relationships and dealings with various emperors, popes, kings of Spain and France, and also Ottoman sultans. Before we continue, I'd like to remind you to please hit that subscribe button to make sure you never miss any new material from the podcast. Let us resume. To put things into a bit of context, I'll want to explain what a Venetian Doge was and why he was so important. As explained in the first episode of the podcast entitled Venice, Republic, Myth, Empire, which I recommend for people to go to and check out, the governance of the Venetian Republic was far more complex than the ones of monarchies of the time. While the Doge ruled for life after his election, making him the head of a state, his power was not absolute, with there being other institutions such as the Council of Ten, the Great Council, the Collegio, the Pregati, which was a senate, which were able to decide matters relating to economics, war, and diplomacy. In short, there was a balance of power within the Venetian Republic meant to provide stability, checks, and balances. Throughout the 16th century, there were 15 Doges of the Venetian Republic. Some, like Marcantonio Trevisan, had a very brief rules between 1553 and 54. This Venetian Doge miniseries, which is still part of the broader series called Rulers and Monarchs of the 16th century Mediterranean and Europe, will focus on the following. Leonardo Loredan, Doge between 1501 and 1521, whose rule was very important, having guided the Venetian Republic through the Second Ottoman-Venetian War, which ended in 1503, but also the War of the League of Cambrai. Then I'll want to look at Andrea Gritti, the Fabius Maximus of Venice, according to historian Robert Findlay, a crucial commander for Venice during the War of the League of Cambrai, and Doge between 1523 and 1538. His dogeship marked by the War of the League of Cognac and the prelude and part of the Third Ottoman-Venetian War. Then I'll want to look at Alvise Mocenigo I, whose dogeship happened between 1570 and 1577. He presided over Venice during the Fourth Ottoman-Venetian War of Cyprus. Here I'll mention previous Doges in the decade that preceded it, which included the Great Siege of Malta and the gradual deterioration of Ottoman-Venetian peace established in 1540. And finally, I'll want to talk about Sebastiano Veniero, one of the main commanders at the Battle of Lepanto, alongside Marcantonio Colonna and Don Juan of Austria. His dogeship relatively short between 1577 and 1578, but nevertheless a key figure towards the end of the 16th century for the Venetians, both as a commander but also as a Doge. This miniseries will aim to complete the tableau set out with the short histories of the monarchs and rulers of the 16th century Mediterranean and Europe. Further down the line, after this is completed, I'll want to continue the series with a list of whom I consider to be the most important popes in the history of the 16th century Mediterranean. But I'll come back with more on that later. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. It helps a lot with the channel to never miss any new material from the podcast. And until the next time, all the best. The next episode should be about Leonardo Loredan.